Over the next 2 years, the UK will face a series of crises that will radically change what it means to live here. And the scary part? Most people think I'm exaggerating. They believe the UK has been through worse: 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the 70s, and the financial crisis. We'll get through it, they say, like we always do. But this time is different. What's coming isn't just one crisis, it's 6, breaking down at the same time. Each one will feed off the others, creating a downward spiral with no clear way out. By the end of this video, you'll see why the next 2 years will decide whether the UK remains a leading country or sinks into managed decline. Decline so severe that your children will ask, why didn't anyone do something? But here's the reality. By the time most people realise the full extent of this, it will be too late to prepare. The time to act is now, today, not next year when it's too obvious and everyone's scrambling. Make sure you're subscribed to Economy Ledger, because what I'm about to reveal isn't speculation or fear-mongering. It's a breakdown of 6 interconnected crises happening all at once. Understand what's coming, and you can position yourself to survive it. But first, you need to see it clearly. Let's start with something that should have made the headlines last week but barely got a mention. The UK's credit rating was downgraded by Moody's from AA to AA-. That might sound technical, but it's not. A downgrade means international investors are losing faith in the UK's ability to repay its debts. It means borrowing costs will rise. It means less foreign investment. The UK is losing trust in its financial management. This used to be a country with a AAA rating, impeccable creditworthiness. Now we're slipping down the ladder, while the government claims everything's fine. It's not. It's a warning, and it's just one of 6 major problems colliding at the same time. Let me introduce these crises to you, and as I walk through each one, remember, they aren't separate issues. They're interconnected. Each one makes the others worse, and that's what makes this situation so dangerous. Crisis 1. Economic stagnation. The UK economy has barely grown in 15 years. Since the 2008 financial crisis, GDP per capita has barely budged. We're the only major economy where real wages today are lower than in 2008. 17 years, and the average worker is poorer than they were back then. That's unprecedented in modern British history. Productivity growth, the engine of long-term prosperity, has stalled completely. UK productivity is 20% lower than France and Germany. That means a French worker produces in 4 days what a British worker takes 5 days to produce. We're falling behind, and the gap is growing every year. Business investment in the UK is the lowest in the G7. Companies look at the UK and decide to put their money elsewhere. Factories are built in Poland, not Birmingham. Tech hubs emerge in Berlin, not Manchester. Capital that should be modernising the UK economy is being invested in more stable countries. Why does this matter? Because without economic growth, everything else collapses. You can't fund the NHS, pay pensions, or maintain infrastructure without growth. An economy that doesn't grow is an economy in decline, and we've been in decline for over a decade, though most haven't realised it because it's been gradual. Crisis 2. Demographic collapse. This is the one no one wants to discuss because the implications are so grim. The UK's birth rate has dropped to 1.49 children per woman, far below the replacement rate of 2.1. We're not having enough children to replace the current population. You might think this is good. Fewer people means less pressure on housing and services. Wrong, catastrophically wrong, because the population isn't shrinking evenly across age groups. Young people aren't having kids, but the elderly are living longer than ever. What you get is a rapidly aging population with fewer working-age people to support them. Right now, 3 working-age people support each pensioner. By 2040, that ratio will be 2 to 1. By 2050, it could be 1 to 1. Think about what that means. One worker trying to generate enough tax revenue to support one pensioner's state pension, NHS care, and social services. It's mathematically impossible. The system will collapse. Japan's economy has stagnated for 30 years because they got old before they got rich. South Korea's birth rate is at 0.7 and their society is heading toward extinction. The UK is following the same path, just 10 to 15 years behind. And before you think immigration will solve this, understand that we need a net immigration of 1 million people per year, every year, indefinitely, just to maintain the current age structure. That's politically unfeasible, and without it, the demographic math doesn't work. Crisis 3. Infrastructure decay. Britain's infrastructure is falling apart, and there's no money to fix it. The water system leaks 30% of water before it even reaches homes. Victorian-era pipes are crumbling underground. Water companies have extracted billions in dividends while failing to invest in maintenance. Major cities could face water shortages within the next decade, not because of climate change, but because the pipes physically can't deliver the water that exists. The UK's road network requires an estimated £14 billion in immediate repairs, just to address the backlog of potholes and structural issues. Local councils don't have the funds. Roads are deteriorating faster than they can be fixed. In the next decade, large portions of the UK's road system could become unusable without significant investment that's simply not coming. The rail system is equally problematic. Outdated trains, old signals, and infrastructure that needs urgent replacement. The HS2 project, which was supposed to modernise Britain's railways, has been scaled back repeatedly and may never reach its full intended destinations. Meanwhile, countries like France, Spain, Japan, and China are building thousands of miles of high-speed rail. The electricity grid isn't ready for the switch to electric vehicles and heat pumps. If even 30% of cars go electric in the next 5 years, the grid won't be able to handle the demand. Huge investment is required in grid infrastructure, new power generation, and smart metering. But that investment is nowhere near the scale it needs to be. Hospitals are falling apart too. The NHS maintenance backlog stands at over £11 billion. Roofs leak, heating systems fail, and operating theatres have to shut down because buildings aren't safe. These are not third world problems. This is Britain in 2025. When infrastructure decays past a certain point, fixing it becomes too expensive. We enter a cycle where we can't afford repairs, so things get worse, making them even more costly to fix. Several areas of UK infrastructure have reached that point, and there's no clear way out. Crisis 4. Social fracture. British society is fragmenting in alarming ways. Regional inequality is at levels not seen since the Industrial Revolution. The divide between London and the South East versus the rest of the country has widened, along with the wealth gap, opportunity gap, and life expectancy gap. A child born in Blackpool can expect a life expectancy 10 years shorter than one born in Westminster. 10 years. Same country, different postcodes. This isn't a developed nation, it's a society failing huge portions of its population. Trust in institutions has collapsed. People no longer trust the government, parliament, the police, the media, or the NHS. When the public loses faith in the institutions that hold society together, those institutions stop working properly. Political polarisation is intensifying. Leave versus remain, young versus old, cities versus towns, graduates versus non-graduates. These divides are so deep that people in different groups literally can't understand each other's perspectives anymore. They're operating from completely different sets of facts and values. Social cohesion, which once helped Britain endure hardship, is weakening. In World War II, there was a shared national purpose and mutual obligation. That's no longer the case. If serious economic hardship hits now, there's no foundation of social solidarity to fall back on, just competing groups fighting over a shrinking pie. Crime is rising, especially violent crime and shoplifting. Police numbers have been cut and detection rates have plummeted. For most property crimes, the police don't even investigate, they just give you a reference number for insurance. When the state can't provide basic security, private security steps in. We're already seeing the start of a two-tier system where wealthy areas have private security and everyone else just accepts higher crime as the new normal. Crisis 5. Energy vulnerability. Britain's energy security is a real concern, and most people don't realise how dependent we are on systems we can't control. North Sea oil and gas production has dropped by 75% since 2000. Now, we're a major net importer of energy. When European energy prices spiked in 2022 and 2023, British consumers saw their energy bills triple because we're completely exposed to international gas prices and we can't control them. The government had to spend tens of billions subsidising energy bills to prevent economic collapse. That vulnerability still exists. We've closed most of our coal plants and our nuclear capacity is aging and scheduled to close within the next decade. We're relying heavily on renewable energy and gas imports. If there's another international supply shock, or if our key import infrastructure fails, Britain could face serious energy shortages. Our strategic petroleum reserve has been depleted and energy storage capacity is minimal. There's no buffer. We're running a just-in-time energy system where everything must work perfectly or we risk blackouts. The transition to renewable energy requires huge amounts of copper, lithium, and rare earth minerals, and Britain produces almost none of these. We rely on global supply chains, especially from China, for the materials needed to build wind turbines, solar panels, and batteries. If those supply chains are disrupted for geopolitical reasons, our entire energy transition could grind to a halt. Crisis 6. Geopolitical isolation. Britain's global standing has weakened significantly in the past decade. We've left the European Union, our biggest trading partner. Trade has dropped, and investment from Europe has fallen. The frictionless market access we once had is gone, replaced by paperwork, delays, and additional costs. Our relationship with the United States is also changing. For 70 years, the special relationship meant privileged access to American power, but that's diminishing. The US is focusing more on Asia and is less interested in European affairs. Britain is trying to forge new trade deals with countries like India, Australia, and other Asian nations. But we're a medium-sized economy negotiating from a position of weakness. We need these deals more than they need us, meaning we'll make concessions and receive less favourable terms. Britain's military capacity has shrunk. The British Army is now smaller than it's been since the Napoleonic Wars. The Navy can't maintain its ships properly, and the RAF faces recruitment and equipment challenges. We still have nuclear power, but in terms of conventional military force, Britain is a shadow of its former self. While Britain's soft power and cultural influence remain, they won't protect us if hard security challenges arise. With global conflicts escalating, being militarily weak and geopolitically isolated is a dangerous position. Here's where this gets even more worrying. Each of these 6 crises, on its own, could be managed. Economic stagnation is painful but solvable. Demographic challenges are tough but addressable. Infrastructure decay is expensive but fixable. Social fracture is severe, but we've faced worse. Energy vulnerability is concerning, but we can manage it. But when they all happen together, it's a whole different story. Each crisis makes the others worse. The UK is facing a perfect storm, and if we don't act now, the damage could be irreversible. Challenging, but not impossible. Geopolitical isolation? We can adapt. But when all 6 crises hit at once, that's when you get systemic collapse. These aren't separate problems. They're connected and reinforce each other. Economic stagnation means no tax revenue to fix infrastructure. Crumbling infrastructure makes the economy less competitive, causing more stagnation. Demographic decline leads to fewer workers and less consumption, worsening economic stagnation. Social fracture prevents political consensus on the tough reforms needed to address the economy. Energy vulnerability makes industry less competitive, further damaging the economy. Geopolitical isolation means less foreign investment, making stagnation even worse. It's a vicious cycle. Each problem makes the others harder to fix, and right now, we're trapped in it. Let me show you what this looks like with a real example. Last winter, Northern Ireland's power grid came dangerously close to collapsing. Aging infrastructure, rising demand, and supply constraints pushed the system to the brink of total failure. Had the grid gone down, it would have taken days to restore. Hospitals would have relied on emergency generators. Homes would have been without heat in the middle of winter. Businesses would have shut down, leading to widespread economic damage. They avoided disaster by implementing emergency load shedding and urging businesses to reduce energy use. But those conditions haven't changed. The infrastructure is still old. Demand continues to rise. Supply remains constrained. It's bound to happen again. And next time, they might not be able to prevent it. This isn't just a Northern Ireland issue, it's a preview of what's coming to the entire UK as infrastructure decay, energy vulnerability, and lack of investment converge. Take council bankruptcies, for example. Birmingham isn't an isolated case, it's a sign of things to come. Dozens of councils are teetering on the edge. When a council goes bankrupt, it stops providing non-essential services. Libraries close, youth programmes end, roads go unrepaired, parks are left to deteriorate, social care is cut to the bare minimum. The areas that become uninhabitable first will be those with bankrupt councils and shrinking populations. Young people will leave, taking their tax contributions with them, making the council's finances even worse. More cuts follow. More people leave. The cycle accelerates. We're already seeing parts of northern Wales empty out. Now, let's talk timeline. When will all this come to a head? The honest truth is, it's already started. We're in the early stages of collapse, but most people don't recognize it yet because collapse isn't one big event. It's a gradual deterioration that picks up speed over time. Here's what the next few years likely look like. 2026, more councils declare bankruptcy. NHS waiting times hit record highs, pushing people into private healthcare they can't afford. Energy bills stay high. Real wages keep falling. Social unrest increases. It won't be catastrophic yet, but everything will be measurably worse. 2027. A major infrastructure failure hits, either a regional power outage, a water crisis in a major city, or a critical transport failure. The government will respond with emergency measures and promises to fix things, but they won't have the funds to actually do so. People will realise the decline isn't temporary, it's structural. 2028 to 2029. Economic crisis strikes, either a recession triggered by external factors or a domestic crisis from unsustainable debt. Unemployment rises. Government debt servicing becomes unmanageable. Serious austerity kicks in, not the 2010 version, real cuts to core services. People will genuinely feel the impact. 2030 to 2032, social breaking point. Protests, strikes, and possibly riots. The relationship between the government and the public shatters. Political instability grows. Governments won't complete their terms because nothing they try will work. Each new government inherits a mess and gets blamed for not fixing it. 2033 onward, two possibilities. Either Britain implements radical reforms that completely restructure the economy and society, painful but potentially effective, or we slide into managed decline, becoming a medium-income country with deteriorating services, falling living standards, and a growing exodus of skilled workers. The second option is far more likely than the first. This outcome isn't inevitable. It could be avoided, but doing so would require political consensus on radical reforms, ones that impose short-term pain for long-term gain. Huge investments in infrastructure, comprehensive tax reform, overhauls of the pension and healthcare systems, major productivity improvements, re-engagement with Europe, bold energy policies. These changes could shift the trajectory. But look at British politics. Does that seem realistic? We can't even agree on basic facts, let alone implement radical reforms. Every proposal gets attacked from all sides. Nothing substantial ever passes. We're stuck in political gridlock, while the underlying problems keep getting worse. So, what should you do? If you're watching this and thinking, okay, I get it, but what's my move here? Let me be blunt. First, accept that you can't rely on the state for your future security, whether that's pensions, healthcare, or social care. Plan as if these services won't exist in any meaningful form when you need them. This isn't pessimism, it's realism based on the numbers I've shown you. Next, create geographical flexibility. If you have skills that can be applied elsewhere, research potential places to live. I'm not suggesting you emigrate for sure, but you need to know your options and understand the requirements. Have a plan B that doesn't rely on the hope that things will improve in Britain. Countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and several European nations are actively recruiting skilled workers. They have their own challenges, but they're not facing the exact combination of crises that Britain is. Third, invest in portable assets. Owning property in the UK is fine, but it's very illiquid and local. If you need to move, you can't easily convert a house in Birmingham into something useful. Diversify into assets that move with you, stocks, especially international ones, globally recognized skills and education, and professional networks across borders. Fourth, build resilience. We're entering a period with potential energy, water, and infrastructure disruptions. Having personal resilience, like backup power, water storage, and emergency supplies, isn't about being a doomsday prepper. It's sensible preparation for likely scenarios. Fifth, community matters more than ever. If things deteriorate significantly, strong social networks will be critical. Get to know your neighbours, build relationships. Communities that work together survive disruptions much better than individuals who are isolated. Sixth, protect yourself from financial collapse. Don't keep all your savings in UK banks. Diversify across institutions and jurisdictions. Consider holding some assets in stronger currencies or investments that retain value during currency devaluation. I'm not saying buy gold and hide in a bunker, just don't make yourself completely exposed to UK-specific financial risks. Seventh, invest in your health now while NHS services still exist. Get your knee surgery before waiting lists hit 3 years. Take care of your dental work. Address medical issues before the system degrades further. Your health is an asset that will pay dividends throughout your life. Eighth, if you have children, seriously consider their education with international mobility in mind. Focus on languages, STEM skills, and internationally recognized qualifications. They need to be able to work anywhere because by 2050, Britain might not offer the opportunities they need. Let me be clear, I'm not hoping for this. I'm not trying to speed it up. I'm simply recognizing patterns and extrapolating based on current trends. All the data I've shared comes from official government stats, mainstream economic research, or observable reality. Yes, the UK could change course. We could elect a government that implements radical reforms, accepts short-term pain for long-term restructuring, and pulls us back from the brink. It's possible, but I can't plan my life on hoping politicians suddenly become brave and competent. I must plan based on the most likely scenario, and the most likely outcome is continued gradual decline, punctuated by occasional acute crises until something fundamental breaks. I don't know what that breaking point will be. Maybe it'll be a debt crisis. Perhaps it'll be an infrastructure failure that can't be fixed. It could be social unrest that can't be contained. Or maybe it'll just be a slow grinding down until one day everyone realizes Britain isn't a first world country anymore, by any meaningful standard. What I do know is this: individuals who see this coming and prepare will fare far better than those who don't. The difference between understanding what's happening and adapting versus assuming normalcy will continue is the difference between security and devastation. This isn't about being pessimistic or optimistic, it's about being realistic. Britain is facing 6 interconnected crises with no clear solutions and no political will to implement potential solutions. That's not a recipe for stability and prosperity, it's a recipe for decline. The UK we've known for the past 75 years, a prosperous, stable first world democracy with comprehensive public services and rising living standards, is coming to an end. What replaces it will depend on the decisions we make now, but those decisions are either not being made well or not being made at all. You can't control what the government does. You can't fix the NHS, the pension system, or the infrastructure, but you can control your own preparation, your own plans, and your positioning for whatever comes next. The question isn't, is the UK about to collapse? The real question is, what are you going to do about it? Because the collapse has already started. It's just happening slowly enough that most people haven't noticed yet. Don't be most people. Subscribe to Economic Ledger for more reality-based analysis that mainstream media won't give you. We're not here to make you feel good. We're here to make sure you understand what's actually happening so you can prepare accordingly. Your future depends on seeing clearly. The clock is ticking.